The word suddenly had a very special meaning to him. It signified so much. It struck him then that never in 9 years of marriage to Amy had he ever called their various apartments home. Usually, whenever he referred to them, he would say our place or back at the ranch or some such similar thing. But the little white clapboard on Route 341, with its picket fence and neat garden, was indeed home. And it had become his haven, his place of refuge. There were several adjoining fields with a large barn standing in one of them, and this he had turned into a workshop and studio. Currently, he was renting the property, but he liked it so much he was seriously thinking of buying it. Apart from being the right size, the house was close enough to Northville, where he had moved his electrical business a few weeks ago. He had wanted to be out of New Milford altogether because Amy still lived and worked there. Not that there was any animosity between them. In fact, they were quite good friends in spite of their breakup. Their separation had been reasonably amicable, although initially she had not wanted to let him go. Eventually she had agreed. What option did she have? He had been long gone from her emotionally and physically, even when they still shared the same apartment in New Milford. The day he had finally packed his bags and made his intentions clear, she'd exclaimed, "Okay, Jake, I agree to a separation, but let's stay friends, please." Long absent in spirit and with one foot already out the door, he had willingly agreed. What harm could it do? Anything to make his escape easier, to get away from her at long last in a peaceful way and without another row. Jake's thoughts centered entirely on Amy for a moment or two. In many ways, he felt sorry for her. She wasn't a bad person, just dull, unimaginative, and something of a killjoy. Over the years, she had become an albatross around his neck, dragging him down and inducing in him an unfamiliar state of depression. He knew that he was smart and quick and clever. He always had been, even as a child. And he was good at his job. His former boss at Bolton Electric had constantly told him he was a genius with lighting and special effects. And because of his drive, hard work, and talent, he had moved up in life. He had wanted to move even farther, but she had held him back. Amy was always afraid things would go wrong. "It's not going to work. It'll fail, and then where will we be?" she had wailed. "Anyway, what do you know about being a contractor?" she had gone on nervously, her face pinched and white and tight around the mouth. When he hadn't answered her, she had added, "You're a good electrician, Jake, I know that, but you're not good at business." He had been infuriated by her remark. Glaring at her, he had shot back, "How do you know what I'm good at? You haven't been interested in me or anything I do for years." She had gaped at him, obviously shocked by his words, but he was speaking the truth. It seemed to him now, as he remembered those words, that Amy had lost interest in him during the 2nd year of their marriage. Jake sighed under his breath. It had all become so sad and discouraging, and he wondered, for the umpteenth time, how it could have gone so wrong. They had grown up together in Hartford, had been childhood sweethearts, and had married right out of school. Well, almost. In those days, the future had glittered brightly for him and had been full of promise. He had his dreams and ambitions. Amy had neither. The future with Amy had begun to look so bleak, so without promise or happiness, he had eventually begun to drift away from her. Content to plod along, following her usual routine, she had never even noticed when he was gone from her in body and spirit. He might live in the same apartment, but he was no longer really there. Inevitably, he strayed and had a couple of affairs with other women, and discovered he didn't even feel guilty. He had also realized at the time, over 2 years ago now, that the game was up between them. Jake was not a promiscuous man, and the very act of infidelity told him that there was nothing left of their relationship, nothing left to salvage, at least for him. Through her apathy and fear, her lack of trust in him and in his ability, Amy had killed their marriage. Also, she had taken hope away from him. Everyone needed hope. Everyone needed dreams.